Why does she choose him again? Why is it always the other man, the one who never does what you do, the one who doesn't care, the one who breaks her heart? You, the one who plays by the rules, who understands the dance, who tries so hard to be the man she deserves. Yet you're left in silence, ignored, wondering why your every effort is met with indifference. Why does the same pattern keep repeating, as if you were merely an extra on the set of her life, never the leading man? The answer is hidden beneath layers of unspoken truths, in the shadows of her emotions, and you're standing on the edge of it, a precipice that could unravel everything you think you know about women, about desire, and about yourself. Imagine this, a chessboard. You think you've mastered the game, but you're playing blindfolded. She, on the other hand, sees the moves ahead. Her silence is her weapon, her absence is her strategy. She holds the pieces and you're just a pawn, moving in circles, thinking you're one move away from victory. But the truth, the real game is never about being right. It's about being unpredictable, untouchable, a force that cannot be boxed into your neat little logic. The silence you endure, the haunting void of her absence, is not an absence at all. It's a deliberate power play, and you're losing, desperately. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be trapped in a cage of your own making? You've been conditioned to believe that consistency, predictability, and doing everything right is the key. But in the world of desire, it's the cage itself that locks you in. She wants freedom, a sense of adventure, and the feeling that she's chasing something elusive. She craves the challenge, the unpredictability, the rush of the unknown. In your quest for control, you've unwittingly imprisoned her, and now you're left staring at the cold bars of a relationship that was never meant to flourish. You were never supposed to be safe, never supposed to be the sure thing. That's not how attraction works. But do you dare to question everything you've been taught? Let's be clear. Desire is a magnet, pulling her closer to the man who knows how to wield power, not through control, but through mystery. You see, you've been taught that to win her, you must be stable, dependable, a rock. But in reality, what she desires most is someone who isn't fully known, someone who leaves gaps for her to fill with her own imagination. The silence, her silence, is a space, a void, where her mind runs wild. She is not waiting for answers. She's waiting for the mystery to consume her. The more you push to fill that silence, the more she pulls away, the more she becomes unreachable, unknowable. You are playing checkers when she's playing chess, and now you stand at the edge of something much deeper. The answers are close, too close for comfort. You are on the precipice of understanding what she really wants, but the truth will not be kind. It will shatter your comfort zones, break your illusions. The silence she imposes upon you, it's not rejection, it's a test that only a select few men have ever passed. And now you must ask yourself, are you ready to discover the secrets of the game, to step into the forbidden realm where attraction is no longer a mystery, but a science? Or will you walk away, too afraid to confront the truths that may change? Everything you think you know her, you believe you understand her, but what if everything you've learned, every word, every gesture, every fleeting look, was nothing but smoke and mirrors, carefully crafted to make you feel in control? What if, behind that smile, behind those soft, elusive silences, there's a truth so dark and visceral that you couldn't possibly fathom it? She's not the princess in your fairy tale. No, she's the queen on the chessboard, moving in ways that you cannot predict, calculating every step, every word, every reaction. And you're the pawn, oblivious to the invisible forces that govern the game. You believe you're playing for her heart, but you're playing for your own survival. And the silence, that terrible silence that gnaws at you, consuming your every thought, is the ultimate weapon she wields with devastating precision. It's not a pause, a gap, or a break. It's a silent scream, a desperate cry for something deeper, something darker, You'll never understand it until you stop looking at her through the lens of your own need, until you start seeing her for the enigma she really is. The silence you dread is her power, not her weakness. She knows that, and you don't. Every word you speak, every attempt to fill the void, tightens the chains around your own emotions. And yet there you are, a slave to your own expectations, hoping that this time, this one time, she'll be different. You don't realize that the more you beg for attention, the more you push, the more she pulls away, like a magnet that repels. Just as powerfully as it attracts, she's playing with you, a game you don't even know you're in, and while you're here, desperately analyzing her every gesture, she's moving ahead, always 2 steps ahead. What if this is the game and you've already lost? What if your devotion, your yearning, is exactly what's keeping you in the dark? What if, by doing everything right, you've become invisible? What if she only notices what you're too afraid to offer, the part of you that's untamed, unshackled, unpredictable? But here's where the paradox begins. You're not meant to win her. You're not meant to control her. You're meant to be the force that she cannot tame, the mystery that she can never fully unravel. You are meant to exist as both the magnet and the void, the one who attracts with his silence, his absence, his unpredictability. The truth is this: her desire is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of herself, of what she needs to see in you to feel alive. She doesn't want a man who's a mirror of her wants and desires. She wants a man who defies her expectations, who shatters her illusions, and leaves her with more questions than answers. The more you try to be the man she expects, the further you push her away. What if the truth is that what you think is your strength, your consistency, your reliability, is the very thing that drives her into the arms of someone else? Can you hear it now? That faint whisper in the dark? The part of her that craves more than what you offer? The truth, the one you've been running from, is that she wants to be lost in you. Not found, not understood, but lost. When you stand too close, too steady, you rob her of the chaos she needs to feel alive. And that's where you failed. Not by being weak, not by being too passive, but by being too much of a safe bet. Women don't fall for the man who can be predicted. They fall for the man who's unpredictable, the one who is a riddle, wrapped in mystery, who keeps them on their toes, who keeps the fire burning by never being fully grasped. And you right now are playing by the wrong rules. You think you're doing everything right, but the truth is you're doing everything wrong. There's no quick fix, no simple answer. But the door has just cracked open, and once you see the other side, you'll never be the same. You're standing at the edge, looking at a world where everything you've believed about women, about relationships, is about to crumble. And it won't be pretty, but it will be the truth. The truth that will make you question everything you've ever known about desire, about attraction, and about who you really are when you stop playing by the rules. Now take a moment to reflect. What if the very thing that drives you to her, the thing you call love, isn't love at all? What if it's just the fear of losing, the terror of not being enough? What if you've been chasing a shadow, believing it was a dream, when in reality it's a reflection of your own deep insecurity? The truth is, women don't desire the desperate, the needy, the man who seeks validation in every look and every word. They want something they can't possess, something that keeps them awake at night, wondering if they'll ever truly understand you. But this isn't love. This is desperation masquerading as devotion. And desperation, my friend, is like a dark cloud that repels the very light you're trying to attract. The games you play, the way you bend yourself out of shape to fit her desires, it's all a trap. You're trying to fill a void within yourself, and you're using her as the tool to fix what's broken. But here's the catch. You can never fix yourself through someone else. You can never expect a woman to heal your wounds. Yet you're stuck, playing into her silence, her distance, convinced that this is the price you must pay to be worthy of her attention. The deeper you go into this spiral, the less you realize how much power you're giving away. You're handing her the control, your confidence, your very essence, all because you think that through her you'll find the validation you seek. But in reality, it's not her love you need, it's your own. And until you understand this, until you stop seeking her approval, the cycle will never end. Do you see it now? The game she's playing, it's not about love, it's about control. She controls the space between you, pulling you in with her gaze, pushing you away with her silence. She's the magnet, and you're just the metal, waiting to be drawn in. But she's not interested in having you completely. She wants the power of your desire, the power of your need. She wants to feel like she has you at the edge of her fingertips, but never fully within reach. And you, lost in this dance, keep spinning in circles, believing that with each turn you'll get closer to her. But the truth is, you're only getting further away. You're playing into her hands without even realizing it. The more you chase, the more she retreats. The more you yearn, the more she slips away. The more you think you understand her, the more she becomes a mystery, a riddle that you can never solve. What if, just for a moment, you stopped chasing? What if you took a step back? Let the silence between you be filled with your own power, your own presence. What if the answer to her distance wasn't more attention but less? What if the key to unlocking her desire is not in filling every void with your voice, but in letting her feel the pull of your absence? That silence she uses to push you away, it's the very thing that makes her desire you. And as long as you fill that space, you'll never know the true power of your own presence. You are not meant to be at her beck and call. You are meant to stand tall, to command her attention without ever needing to seek it. But now, there's another question that lingers in the air, the question that no one dares to ask. What if she's never fully interested in you at all? What if this game isn't about you, but about her need for validation, her desire to feel powerful, her hunger for attention? What if you're just the pawn in her game, the one she uses to feed her ego? The truth is, the more you chase her, the more you confirm that she's the one who's in control. The more you give in, the more you lose. And the cycle continues, feeding itself, until you're left with nothing but the echo of your own desperation. You've reached the edge of what you've always known. But the abyss ahead, it's deeper, darker, and more complicated than you ever imagined. You're standing in the middle of a battlefield, and the real war. It's not about her. It's about you. The question now is whether you're ready to step away from the game, or if you'll continue to play, always losing, always chasing. Now, let's sink even deeper. What if the chase itself, the constant pursuit of her attention, is the very thing that keeps you locked in a cage of your own making? Have you ever considered that you've been taught to chase the wrong thing? You're not chasing her, no. You're chasing your own self-worth, your own need for affirmation, wrapped up in the illusion of her affection. You've been conditioned to believe that love is earned by attention, by sacrifice, by always being available. But the truth, the hard, unspoken truth, is that love isn't a commodity to be earned. It's a force that cannot be contained, that cannot be controlled. And the moment you think you've won her, that moment you believe you've proven yourself worthy, that's when you've already lost. Because in her eyes, the one who sacrifices himself, who seeks validation in her gaze, is nothing more than a reflection of her own needs. She will never see you, not really. She'll only see the man she wants to use to feed her hunger, but it goes deeper, much deeper. What if I told you that her silence is not just a game, not just a tactic? What if it's a mirror, reflecting your own doubts, your own insecurities back at you, as if to show you the very thing you're running from? The more you seek her, the more you reveal yourself to her, and not in the way you think. You think you're showing her your devotion, your strength, your ability to love, but in truth, you're showing her your desperation. You're showing her how badly you need her approval, how fragile your sense of self truly is. And in doing so, you're offering up your most precious currency, your power. You're laying it all out for her to take, piece by piece. You've given her your weakness, your desire, and she can sense it like a predator closing in on prey. She's not repelled by your need. She's drawn to it, watching, waiting, sensing the vulnerability you don't even realize you're showing. The silence that you dread, that you yearn to fill, is simply her way of reflecting back to you everything you fear about yourself. But here's where it starts to change. What if you stopped fearing the silence? What if, instead of filling it with words, you made it your ally? What if your presence became the silence, the space between you, so thick with tension that it pulled her in unwillingly, irresistibly? What if your absence became more powerful than your presence? Imagine the power in that, to be so confident, so certain of your own value that you don't need to prove it to anyone, least of all her. Imagine being the man who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't need to be seen. Imagine being the man who commands attention without uttering a word, the one whose mere presence creates a storm inside her, a storm that she cannot control. But let's confront something else. Have you ever wondered why you're so afraid of her silence, her withdrawal? Is it because deep down you fear the one thing that would shatter everything you think you know about yourself? Rejection? The truth is, rejection is not the enemy. You think it is. In fact, it's the key. Rejection is not the absence of her love. It's the beginning of your liberation. It's the moment when you stop seeking validation from someone else and start finding it within yourself. The moment you stop fearing her distance, her silence, is the moment you'll become truly untouchable. Because in truth, the moment you stop needing her, you become the one who holds the power. But there's a catch. It's not about manipulation. It's about detachment. It's about understanding that your worth is not tied to her affection, her approval, or her love. Your worth is intrinsic. It's something she cannot give you, nor can she take it away. And when you realize this, when you finally understand that the game was never about her, it was about you, then and only then will the door to true attraction open. But to walk through that door, you must leave behind everything you've ever known about relationships, about desire, and about what it means to be a man. You're standing at the crossroads now. The path before you is unfamiliar, unsettling. The road you've been walking is comfortable, safe, predictable, but it has led you to a dead end. The question is, are you willing to step off that path? Are you ready to embrace the truth that has been right in front of you all along? The silence is not her weapon, it's yours. But now, the truth cuts deeper, doesn't it? You've just tasted it, but you can't escape it. There's a profound, almost unbearable discomfort in realizing that the silence you so dread is not only the key to her heart, but also the window into your own soul. The real question now is, can you stand to look at yourself? Can you confront the reflection staring back at you? The version of yourself that's been defined by your need for her, your desperate longing for validation, approval, or even love. It's not just about her anymore. It's about you. The fear that has kept you shackled to her whims, that has made you play the game her way, is now the very force that keeps you locked in an eternal loop. She is not the one who has you in her grip. You are the one who has been enslaving yourself, hoping that by filling the silence, by always being there, you could finally unlock the doors to her heart. But the truth is, the doors were never locked. They were simply not meant to open for someone who is too afraid to stand in their own power. And yet you are still here, still stuck in this cycle, still playing this dangerous game, hoping that one more gesture, one more sacrifice, one more word will be the key to her affection. But it won't be, because the more you try to control her, the more she slips through your fingers. And this, right here, is the cruelest paradox of them all. The harder you try to win her, the further you push her away. It's a game of illusions, and you've been so deep in it, you forgot that the only real move is to stop playing. The magnet that pulls you to her, the desperate need for her validation, is the very force that keeps her just out of reach. She is not the one pulling away. You are. You are running after something that doesn't exist, chasing a version of her that can never be captured. And the worst part, she can see it every time. She sees the man who cannot stand in his own power, who cannot bear the silence, who cannot walk away. She sees your desperation, and in that desperate need, she pulls even further back like a predator leading its prey into a trap. But now, this is where things begin to shift. What if, just for a moment, you stopped playing the game? What if you stopped running after her, stopped chasing the idea of her that you've built up in your mind? What if you started to embrace the one thing you've been avoiding all along? Your own strength. The silence between you isn't a void, a threat, or an absence. It is the space in which your true self resides, waiting to be discovered. The more you embrace it, the more you let go of the need to control, the more power you gain. This is the real power, the power that she will sense, the power that will draw her in, without you needing to chase her. It's the power of detachment, of being the man who is neither defined by her nor confined to her expectations. It's the power of knowing that you are enough, with or without her. And when you finally understand that, when you can stand in that truth, everything shifts. Because then the game is no longer about her, it's about you. The moment you release your need for her approval, you become untouchable. You become the one who attracts, not by being everything she wants, but by being everything you are. But wait, there's more to it. Something even darker, something deeper. When you begin to stand in your own strength, you will finally realize that she is not the only one capable of wielding silence as a weapon. You too have this power. The silence you feared, the silence that made you feel invisible, is your greatest ally. It is your shield, your sword, your space to breathe and grow. The moment you stop chasing her, the moment you stop needing her to fill the emptiness inside, is the moment you will become the one who decides the terms of the game. And that's where things get dangerous, because in that moment, she will see you, really see you, in a way she never has before. And when that happens, when you stand in your power, untamed, unpredictable, unapologetic, she will be drawn to you, not because of what you do for her, but because of what you've become. Now, the silence between you is no longer her weapon. It's yours. You're standing at the edge of the abyss, looking down into the depths of everything you thought you knew about relationships, about desire, about love. But the truth? It's not in the abyss. It's in the space between you and her. In that silence, in that absence, lies the power you've always been seeking. Are you ready to embrace it? Are you ready to finally step into the truth of who you really are? The man who no longer needs to be chosen, but who chooses himself. The choice is yours, but once you step into it, there's no turning back. And yet, as you stand on the precipice of this truth, the weight of it bears down on you. The abyss below you is not just a metaphor, it's the chasm between who you were and who you could become. In this moment you must decide, will you continue to chase an illusion, to cling to a version of yourself defined by her absence, her silence, or will you choose to turn inward, to embrace the power that has always been yours, but that you've been too afraid to claim? The moment of realization is always the most terrifying because it shatters everything you thought you knew about love, about desire, about yourself. But it's also the most liberating. The silence that once felt like a wound now becomes the space where you can finally breathe, where you can finally exist fully without needing validation from anyone else. You are enough, and that truth is more powerful than any game she plays, or any illusion you've bought into. This, my friend, is the turning point. The moment where you stop running after her, stop trying to decode her every move, and start living in your own power. But let's be clear, this isn't about some empty, ego-driven detachment. It's not about rejecting her, about playing hard to get, or about pulling away just to get her attention. No, this is about standing in your own truth, fully and unapologetically. This is about being the man who is whole, who doesn't need her to complete him, who doesn't need her to fill the empty spaces within himself. You will no longer be the man who is constantly reactive, always bending to her moods, always trying to fix what isn't broken. No, you will be the man who defines his own space, who attracts her not by chasing, but by embodying the power of his own self-worth. And when you do this, when you start living in this truth, something extraordinary happens. The very thing you've been searching for, the thing that has always eluded you, her attention, her admiration, her desire, starts to shift. No longer are you the one who is constantly chasing. You've become the one who is chased, the one who commands respect, not by demanding it, but by simply embodying it. She will sense the change in you, though she won't understand it. She will feel the pull, the magnetism, the undeniable force of a man who is fully in control of his own life. The more you embrace your own silence, the more powerful you become. The more you stop needing her, the more she will begin to need you. This is the paradox that most men never understand. The more you let go, the more she is drawn in. But as you step further into this new identity, understand this. This journey is not without its challenges. The temptation to fall back into old patterns will be strong. You will find yourself wanting to chase her, to fall into the trap of pleasing her, of seeking her approval. But every time you catch yourself in this old dance, you must remind yourself of the truth you've uncovered. You are the prize, not her love, not her attention. And every time you feel that old impulse rising within you, you must resist. You must return to yourself, to your own power, to the silence that now holds you in its grip, because this is the ultimate test. Not of her, but of you. Can you remain strong in your own sense of self without needing her to complete the picture? Can you stand alone, whole and complete, knowing that your worth is inherent, not dependent on anyone else? In the end, it all comes down to this. The silence she imposes upon you is not the silence of rejection. It is the silence of possibility. It is the space where everything you've ever desired lies, but not in the way you thought. It is the silence where you find yourself. And when you find yourself truly, deeply, unapologetically, you will find that the game has shifted. You are no longer the one chasing, no longer the one in pursuit. You are the one who is chased, the one who holds the power. You are the man who no longer needs to be chosen because you choose yourself. And that, my friend, is when everything changes. Are you ready to step into this new reality? Are you prepared to leave behind the old, the comfortable, the known, and enter a world where the rules have changed, where you no longer need her to validate you, where her silence no longer holds you in its grip? The power is within you. It always has been. The question is, will you claim it? Now, as you stand on the edge of this profound shift, the fear begins to creep in, doesn't it? It's a fear that whispers in the back of your mind, what if this is all a lie? What if you're wrong? What if you're just playing a dangerous game? And in the end, you're left empty, alone, abandoned in the silence you've learned to embrace. That fear is natural. It's the last remnants of the man who lived for validation, who defined himself through her eyes, through her approval. But that man, the one who needs to be chosen, the one who craves attention, the one who chases endlessly, that man is dying. And in his place, something far more powerful is emerging, the man who stands on his own, who no longer fears the silence, because he understands the depth and strength that lies in it. This is where the true transformation begins. The moment you stop fearing the silence, the moment you stop seeking the validation, the moment you stop chasing after her, that's when you begin to reshape the reality of your relationships. You are no longer playing a game with predetermined rules. You are creating your own. And what you create is something far more authentic, far more lasting. No longer will you be a puppet in a game where she pulls the strings. You are the one who takes the lead. You are the one who sets the terms. The fear that once gripped you, the fear of being rejected or abandoned, loses its power over you. Because you realize that rejection, in truth, is not an absence of love. It's a mirror. It shows you where you still need to grow, where you still need to find yourself. And when you embrace it, when you stop running from it, you realize that rejection has no power over someone who is already whole, already complete. You are not defined by her reaction. You are defined by how you respond to the silence, to the space between you. This space is not a void. It is fertile ground for your own growth, your own self-discovery. In it you will find the strength to rise above the fear, to transcend the games, and to live in your own truth. But let's be clear. This is not about making her chase you. This is not about manipulation or playing tricks to make her feel something she doesn't. It's about understanding that true attraction isn't a chase at all. It's a pull, a magnetic force that cannot be forced or manipulated. The more you embrace your own power, your own silence, the more you will naturally become the man she cannot resist. And it's not because you're trying to win her over. It's because you've finally understood that you don't need to. You've stopped looking for her approval because you've found the one thing that truly matters, your own. This shift, this transformation, will not be immediate. There will be moments of doubt, of temptation to fall back into old patterns, to seek her attention, to chase her affection. But with each moment of resistance, with each time you choose to stand in your power, the pull you have on her will grow. Stronger, you will become a force of nature, untouchable and unstoppable. She will feel the change, though she may not understand it. And when she does, when she begins to see you as the man who no longer needs her, the man who is whole and complete in himself, something will shift in her as well. She will see you, truly see you for the first time, and the magnetism between you will be undeniable. But here's the final, most important realization. This power, this transformation, is not something you need to prove to her or to anyone else. It is the silent affirmation of your own worth, your own value, your own presence. It is the knowledge that you are the creator of your own reality, that you define your own terms. And when you finally embrace this truth, when you let go of the need for her to complete you, you will become the most powerful version of yourself. You will no longer seek validation from anyone because you will already know that you are enough. So, as you stand at the crossroads, the question remains, will you choose the path of comfort, of chasing, of playing games? Or will you choose the path of power, of silence, of true self-worth? The choice is yours, and it's a choice that will determine everything that comes next. But know this, once you make the decision to step into your power, once you stop playing by the rules, everything will change. The silence will no longer be your enemy. It will be your ally. And in that silence, you will find the greatest truth of all, the power to create your own reality, your own attraction, your own life. Are you ready to embrace it? And yet, even now, in the final moments of this journey, a voice still whispers in your mind, what if I'm not ready? What if the silence is too overwhelming? What if, in letting go of everything you've known, you lose everything you thought you were? It's the last challenge, the last test, and it's not just about her, not just about attraction, not just about desire. This is about you. This is about confronting the deepest parts of yourself that you've long ignored. The fear of being vulnerable, the fear of stepping into your own power, the fear of standing alone, unapologetically. But what if I told you that these fears, these doubts, are not the walls you think they are? What if they're the very keys to your freedom? It's in the moments when you feel most vulnerable, most exposed, that you discover the strength you never knew you had. It's in the silence, that terrifying, crushing silence, that you find your true voice. The moment you stop seeking her approval, stop needing her to fill the void, stop bending to the pressure of her expectations, is the moment you become untouchable. And what is that, if not true power? To stand as yourself, as a man who does not need to be validated, who does not need anyone to affirm his worth. That's when you become the force that draws people to you, effortlessly, without playing games or pretending to be something you're not. But here's the most unsettling truth. Once you step into this power, once you stop caring whether she notices or not, you will begin to see her in a new light. No longer will you chase her or try to decode her every move. You will see her for what she truly is, not the object of your desire, not the answer to your loneliness, but a reflection of your own unresolved needs and insecurities. She will no longer hold the power to make or break you, and this is where the real shift happens. You stop seeking her approval, and in doing so, you stop being affected by her choices. Her silence no longer feels like rejection. Her absence no longer feels like abandonment. It is simply part of the game you are no longer playing. The final key lies in this realization. Attraction is not a prize to be won, a race to be completed. It is a force that exists between two people, but it cannot be forced. It cannot be manipulated. It happens naturally when both individuals stand fully in their own truth, when they stop seeking each other to validate their own existence. The more you rely on her to define you, the more you give her control. The more you claim your own power, the more you take control of your own destiny, and with it, the power to attract, to draw others in without ever having to chase. And so, you are left with one final decision. Will you return to the old path, the path where you chase, where you yearn for validation, where you play by the rules you were taught? Or will you choose the path of power, of silence, of self-assurance? The path where you are the creator of your own reality, where you no longer seek her or anyone's approval because you know, without a doubt, that you are already enough. The silence is no longer your enemy. It is the space where you discover who you truly are. In that silence, you will find your strength, your confidence, your own worth, and when you do, you will realize that the games you were once playing were never meant for you. You were always meant to be the one who holds the power. Now the question is, will you embrace it or will you continue to run from it? The answer lies in your hands, in your heart, and in your silence. The only thing left to do is choose. And so you find yourself in this instant, standing on the edge of the abyss. The echo of everything that was said still reverberates, like the sound of a distant drum, pulsing in the depths of your mind. What was revealed does not fade with time, does not disappear with the last word uttered. On the contrary, it becomes a living memory, infiltrating the deepest layers of your being, touching something you might not have noticed before. And now the question is, can you live with this new weight, with this new truth? Or perhaps you can no longer even imagine a return to the old way of being, to the old game, where control seemed like something you could have, but never truly possessed. Imagine yourself for a moment as a diamond, not for its brilliance, but for its scarcity. Because only that which is rare, that which is forged in the deepest pressures, truly shines. You are not here to be ordinary, to follow the rules of a game that was already decided before you were born. The chess you played was just an illusion. The pieces, the movements, everything was around you but never inside you. And now you understand that the real game isn't won by playing, but by being. You know that the irreversible moves aren't those you made, but those you didn't make. And you are at this very moment facing the most important move of all, who you choose to be from now on. The invisible magnet that attracts and repels, this force you've felt throughout this journey, isn't something you understand rationally. It's not something you can teach, but something you awaken. And when you let yourself be carried away by this force, something inside you begins to align. What you've called chance isn't chance at all. It's a code, a hidden pattern, waiting to be deciphered by someone who has the courage to truly look at themselves, without the masks, without the distractions. Chance isn't random. It's the very dance of your choices. And now, you're beginning to understand the melody. Look inside yourself. What do you find? What resonates? What do you call vulnerability? What do you think is weakness? All of this, everything you fear, is the secret that, once revealed, will make you unbeatable. True power is not the power to dominate another, but the power to dominate yourself, to not need anything else to be complete. Because you already are, you always were, and everything you thought was a flaw, a mistake, a loss, is merely the mask of a profound truth that, when revealed, transforms everything. Every piece you thought was out of place now fits with an almost frightening precision. Now you are no longer at the mercy of what she says or does. You are no longer playing the game. You have transcended it. Every movement, every silence, every unspoken word becomes clear to you, and what once seemed like a prison is now merely a reflection of what you need to see in yourself. The real game was never about her. It was never about others. The game has always been about you, how you choose to play, how you choose to see yourself, how you choose to live with this new perspective. And the great revelation, the one you may have felt but not understood until now, is this: true freedom lies in silence. In the space where you find your own voice, where you free yourself from the shackles of fear, expectation, and approval. By accepting this truth, by integrating this power, you will no longer be a spectator of your own life. You will be the creator, the archetype that never ceased to exist, but which you, for so long, ignored. Now, in your presence, everything changes. The future that once seemed uncertain begins to take shape before your eyes, like an open field, ready to be cultivated by your own hand. There is no longer room for uncertainty. The path ahead reveals itself clear, not because you see it with your eyes, but because you feel it with your heart. The power is in you. Control was your choice from the beginning. Now the real question is not whether you will move forward, but how. Because when touched by this truth, when you feel the weight of this transformation, the only thing left is to move forward. The path has already been laid, and only you can take the next step. If this journey touched something deep within you, if this is the turning point you've been waiting for, then the only thing to do is share it. Not as an instruction, but as the natural next step. If this echo touched your heart, if you feel this is just the beginning, then what are you waiting for?